Looks like our camera's a little messed up. Oops. Just give me a second to correct the camera situation. Where's it pointing? Over here. Hey. And then we'll get started. It's all motorized, software controlled, so I apologize about the speed of its turn radius. It's slow. There's everything. Look at that. I fixed this one too. Alright everybody, welcome to the Friday night build show. Continued building this week. We have another build tomorrow as well. But today is a special day. Today we're building lanes. Sorry. I don't know why I just said that. I'm reading it from my notes. Lane's birthday build. He actually saved up a bunch of money and he was looking for the best possible gaming PC he could build. I believe he's been following us for a little bit now. So I'm super excited to put together this build for him for his birthday. And we put everything we could towards performance. I'm actually not making a single dollar off of this build, not a single cent, because I wanted to make sure Lane had every possible ounce of performance he could get with his money that he saved up for the build. And I just wanted to say happy birthday to him. So happy birthday, Lane. I am happy to be putting this together for you. We're going to go through the parts list really quick and then get started on the actual build. So today, our loadout, maybe the music is a little, just a tad too loud. Maybe turn that down a little bit. Some of these, some of the music gets louder than others. I don't know why it does that, but anyway, we're going to run through the components here. So starting off with a CPU, we have an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X 3D. So this is only sold by Micro Center, so you can only get this X3D 5600 from Micro Center that I'm aware of now. I think there's some other people that bought them from Micro Center and reselling them and then making money off of it. But overall, it's a great processor. It's got 6 cores, it's got 8 threads, boosts up to 4.4 gigahertz max, and it specifically has a L2, I think it was the L2 cache, right? There's a cache on here specifically for the graphics card, which actually gets a little bit of a performance boost with the graphics card. So it's much better for just gaming. Let's see, next up is our thermal paste. We're going to be using Thermal Grizzly like always. We're going to be pairing this CPU with the B550 Tough Gaming by Asus. This is the Plus Wi-Fi 2, so it's the second version of this board actually. But this CPU on that motherboard with 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz by G-Skill, which is a Ripjaws 5, and that's CL16. And then we have a 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe, which is Gen 4. So we're going to get the Gen 4 speeds off of that read-write. Then we have powering the entire PC, which is an AGV 750 watt by Aris Game. It's a bronze-rated power supply. It's got black cables on it. It's semi-modular. It's a great power supply if you're looking for a budget, but something that's going to kind of get you maximum power for your dollar. That's pretty much the best power supply you can get for your dollar currently when you're on a budget trying to make everything work. Because I wanted to get them as much CPU and as much graphics card as possible. The cooler, we were going to go with a 360mm AIO, but in order to get the 3060 Ti in the build, I ended up going with the Peerless Assassin by Thermalbright, which is 2 120mm fans on a 6 heat pipe tower air cooler. So this thing will definitely keep the CPU cool, and even if you upgraded to a bigger, better processor, this cooler will work with bigger, better processors. So he can continue to use it and upgrade it as he sees fit. The graphics card is a Gigabyte GeForce RTX 3060 Ti, which is 8 gigabytes, and this is the factory OC edition. So out of the box, it is overclocked by Gigabyte. Great card, great processor. We didn't really talk about the case yet, but the case is a Montech Air 903 Max. So this is their new case that they actually just released a couple of months ago, I believe, or a few, maybe it's been more than that now. But I actually have not built in this yet. I've been wanting to build in this case, and I'm super excited to build in this case because one of the benefits to this case is that, one, it's about a $80 case. It has, and this is the addressable RGB version, not the performance version, which does not have addressable RGB fans. But this one has three 140mm RGB fans included on the front, a 140mm fan installed included on the rear, and then it also supports a 360mm AIO on the top as well as the front. So it's a fairly decent case with a lot of good features for really cheap. I mean, the only other case that you could really compare this to is maybe the Lian Li, the 215, the Lian Li Landcool 215. That'd be, or 216, sorry, 216 would be the closest. But I mean, this is still cheaper than that one, and it's got some pretty good quality features on it. So all right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the build. I'm going to switch us over to a top-down view, and then I'm going to move some of these components out of the way and we'll get started. Let me know if anybody's having any connection issues or quality issues. Yesterday's stream, we actually had some quality issues, some disconnects and whatnot. So just let me know. But so far everything looks good. It's on the stats. You know, we can actually leave this case right there. We are going to move the power supply and the graphics card down here. These fans also, there's 3 of them in here. These are 120mm fans. We got these so that we can put them across the top of the case and fill out the case. So a little bit more airflow. So it's not really needed for the build, but it just looks cool. Alright, so we're going to start off with the motherboard. I'm going to give us a little bit of a zoom. Nice. I really like this motherboard since they sold it. One of the downsides to it is it does not have a USB-C header. That was the only downside to the board, and I believe the case has USB-C. It does. So that port will not work if you plug anything into the top on the USB-C, because the motherboard does not have that. But I tried my best. That's the only flaw in the build, is that port right there. This guy will not work. But you do have a USB-C on the back. Alright, so for the RAM, motherboard, and CPU, let's get this done. Ah. This is our AMD Ryzen 5 5600X3D. The important situation here is not to bend one of these 1 million pins on this processor, because that would suck. I don't know if maybe we can get a good Don't think it's going to pick that up with the light. We'll drop this CPU into its socket the right way. And close it up. Put a little bit more light on the subject. And then we're going to get the RAM out of the package, which again, these are 8 gig sticks, total of 16 gigabytes with 2 of them. And then a 1 terabyte M.2 Gen 4 SSD, which is going to go right here on this, underneath this passive cooling heatsink. Just a chunk of metal with a thermal pad on it. All that does is pull the heat off of the SSD and onto the cooler. We do need one of these M.2 mounts. Well, thank you, Grandma. And welcome to the stream. Over on Facebook. We just added an M.2 stud there and a screw, which holds the drive in place. Most of the newer boards have these little plastic clips now, so those are dying off. And I like that design better because once you sell a board or you get rid of a board or whatever the case might be, it would be included with the board because it's on the board. It doesn't come off. It can come off, but it's not natural to remove it. There we go. Alright, so we've got our RAM, our CPU, and our SSD installed. So now we'll tackle this cooler and get that installed onto the CPU. We've got the two 120mm fans, hardware kit, instructions, but who the hell needs those? I actually might need them. And then our massive cooler, which is a large block of aluminum mixed with nickel-plated copper. It's got a nice shiny look to it. And a little black, I guess, powder coating on the top of the aluminum. Budget PC? No, this isn't quite a budget PC, but this is, it's got some horsepower to it. But I got every dollar this kid could put into this thing put towards it. Lane's PC is fully loaded. It's got a Ryzen 5 5600X X3D, which means it has a larger cache for the graphics card, or for running graphics. It's better for the games. And then it's got 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM, 3200 megahertz, 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 4 on a B550 Tough Gaming B550 plus Wi-Fi 2, which is the second version of the motherboard, better version of it. And then Montech Air 903 Max. It's a very nice, well-balanced system that will deliver some really good performance for him. So I'm super happy I was given the opportunity to build it for him. And it's a birthday build. So right now I'm just installing the hardware of the cooler so we can mount the cooler to the CPU. We're just going to use the standard AM4 backplate on the back of the motherboard. Leave it there because we're going to be using it. Don't need these, but I do need these. I just don't recall if I need to be in or out. I need to be pointing in. Glad I thought of that and looked. So that would have been painful. Hey John, by the way, I finished that other PC. It's up and running again. I didn't reload Windows or anything, so it's got whatever you left on there. Finished it earlier today, and I was going to ask you if you wanted me to reload it. So it's like a brand new PC, fresh. So just let me know what you want to do with that PC. Send me a text or something. Alright, so we're going to peel the clear plastic off the bottom. Then we're going to apply our Thermal Grizzly thermal paste. This stuff is quality stuff. It'll last a good year, easily, if not longer, before it will need to be reapplied. What is thermal paste? It's the magic sauce that transfers the heat off of the CPU and onto the copper, which is nickel plated here. The magic sauce. I need my bigger screwdriver. Where to go? And there we go. That's how you mount the Thermal Take Peerless Assassin. Quite simple. It's a nice, simple design. And we'll get the two 120mm fans out. This is what blows the air through the fins to cool it, which cools those heat pipes. These little metal brackets are what helps hold the fans to the cooler. It looks like the rip jaws are a little bit too tall on the one side. I really want a fan on each one. I'm going to try to match the look on each side here. Elevate this one a little bit. Kind of match it. But you can see here the fan kind of goes over the ram there. And then it makes it elevate the fan a little bit. But it's not a big deal. Happens with most of these coolers. So I'm going to move this aside and we're going to get the case ready. Looks like it's 2 thumb screws on the back of the glass side panel. And then the glass side panel is removed easily there. Again, this is my first time building in this case. And I've already got another one. Like 3 of them quoted, because I really like it. All right. We're gonna remove this bad boy because that's just a mesh. We're gonna be installing some fans here, but we do need the hardware. Look at all that space back here. I love that. Super clean, super simple. Super clean, simple case. And I love it. If anybody hasn't done a good review on this case, that would be I should probably do one. It even comes with a RGB hub here at the top. Which again, I love. RGB and fan hub. All of the screw packages have been labeled. This is awesome, especially for newer builders that don't know, but the terms on here you may not understand if you're a newer builder, but they're all labeled, which is the first time I've ever seen that in a long time. So that's kind of cool. Tech has really stepped it up on this case, and I love it. We're going to drop the board here in place, and then we have 9 screws to install it, which we opened our motherboard packet that said motherboard, SSD screws. Using a screwdriver that's too long. Hard to control the screw at the end of the tip. Alright, so I'm plugging in the CPU fans to the CPU fan splitter header. That goes to the CPU fan header. And I'm going to stuff those cables towards the back because we don't really want to see them here in the front. I need to get those cables to the back. As well as these RGB cables for the cooler fans. Those need to go to the back as well. And I'm going to add a zip tie here, just so we can try to keep these cables a little bit tidy on the inside of the front. One more zip tie, just because we can. And then I'll show you here what I did. So if you look carefully here in the front, I just added some zip ties here to clean that up a little bit. I don't know why it hasn't focused or refocused. There we go. But I just added some zip ties here on the cables and cleaned this up a little bit to make it look a little neater. And now I just need to clip them. Alright, so now we can move on to our next step, which is probably tackling those fans on the top of the case here. I just want to zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing. But this package of fans, which are Thermalright 120mm fans, PWM addressable RGB, are going to be all installed here at the top, all three of them. They give us a little bit of extra RGB lighting, which is some cool looking flare, as well as providing some additional airflow for the case. And all it takes is 4 screws for each fan to install, and then we got to plug them in. And very nice of Montech to provide a large hub on the back, which saves us from having to do too much cable management on the back. I just got to undo the twist ties of these cables, which there's 2 twist ties for each fan. And everybody knows how much I love twist ties, because I deal with twist ties every day on a daily basis. Twist tie, twist tie, twist tie. I probably spent a year of my lifetime undoing twist ties. Now at this point, if I added it all up, probably a year of my life. Dealing with twist ties. Alright. There we go. So now we just have to install these one by one. I'm going to probably start from the back and work my way forward. Set it there as I prep the screw. Not going to finish that screw because I need to make sure we are cornered up here square. There we go, one installed. Moving on to the next. Come on. One more fan. You can also install fans at the bottom of this case, I've noticed. Looks like it'll support two 120 millimeters, although doesn't look like it'll draw any airflow from anywhere other than the front and the rear. That's about it. I don't know how helpful those would be, since the power supply is going to be facing down. Power supply fan. Maybe to help direct airflow, and that's about it. But it could be grabbing some airflow from down below, from the front 140. That's all I can see. Anyway. Regardless, we get a zip tie here. Press. And it looks like it's super blurry. Nice. What do you guys think? What is it looking like? Is it looking like a gaming PC or what? Starting to look like one. Alright, so the next thing we really have to do is get the motherboard front panel connections plugged in. That's going to be these guys down here. No idea how these got added. There they are. We'll have some fun putting this all back together after it's nice and neat as it is. Look, another twist tie. It is getting pretty messy in the back here, though. That's because we got a lot of cables. Alright, so our USB 3, we're going to want to send it through this little guy here. If we can do it without getting the cables on the wrong side. And then we'll plug it in here. This is our front panel USB 3, which are these guys up here. And then we have a USB-C connection, which we don't have on the motherboard, so this port again is not going to work. It's going to be just doing nothing. I apologize, but that is what it is. We don't have the support on the board for that port, though the board has USB-C on the back. I think it's very cheesy that Asus kind of skimped out on it. And this is our front panel HD audio that we're plugging in towards the bottom here, which I can't apparently see for shizzle. That was our front panel audio, so our microphone and headphone connectors here. We just plugged into the motherboard. And then last but not least is our restart and power button. I know there's an LED button here, but I don't know if it's actually being utilized. But we do have a reset, power, HD LED, and power LED connectors here, which I actually want to run from this side. I'm going to flip it down like this. This is our reset switch, which goes on these two pins. Power switch on these two. Labels facing south because negative is on the right, positive is on the left. There we go. Those are all plugged in, ready to go. So next, we should take a look at that hub on the back, because this probably has a cable coming off of it for synchronization, which it does. It's right here, bundled up. And don't worry, we'll be doing some cable management back here to clean all this up. But here's this guy. Our RGB, but I need a PWM. Where's our PWM sync? There it is. RGB and PWM. Where do you go? I know the RGB goes to the bottom here on the 3 pins on the bottom. I'm pretty sure there's a PWM fan header there too. Aha. Found it. actually would do better going through this one. There we go. So now we could probably put the graphics card in, I'd say. And there's our RTX 3060 Ti, 8GB, GDDR6, 256-bit graphics card. It looks a little smaller, but it is actually a very big, powerful card. This is just a smaller version of the card, which is the reason why we got it on the cheaper end. But really, the bigger cards only include bigger coolers, etc. And as long as you have enough passive cooling through here, which we have plenty of airflow, and there's no reason to have a bigger card for this model. If it's a 4090, then yes, buy the big one. Okay, so what's next? Power supply? Sounds good to me. Let's do it. This says pull here. Not sure why. Super easy to remove that mesh though to clean it up, which is cool. It's power supply time. Looks like it's going to be a side entry. Got our 4 screws here. Bag of cables. Power supply. Then we do have to spend a moment here peeling this peel off. If we don't, it'll get sucked into the power supply and make a weird ticking sound eventually when it falls off over time. So you guessed it, more twist ties. I love twist ties. They're my favorite. My sarcasm is getting worse. This is what you call a semi-modular power supply, where half the cables are already pre-installed and the other half you have to install. Usually I don't get semi-modulars, but again, for the price on this power supply, you really just can't beat the wattage per dollar. For the price, anyway. And it's a pretty reliable power supply. Haven't had any of these units fail in a very long time. Awesome. Look, more cables. What did I do to myself? What have I done? No, it's okay. So I'll take this 24 pin and send it through here because we already know it's going there. To power the 24 pin on the motherboard. And we need a 8 pin CPU EPS cable to go towards the top here. Those are PCIe. Here it is, all tangled up at the bottom here. And that needs to go up here. And then we have a PCIe cable. Hey, you get up there, sir. I did not say you could leave. Then we have a PCIe cable for the graphics card, which is going to run... We're probably going to run it up through here. And then we'll flip it over and get all that plugged in. So again, PCIe cable for the GPU. Plugs in there. And then we'll apply a zip tie here, so that the pigtail doesn't flop around and look stupid in here. Make it look nice and neat. That's what we do. And then we have our 24 pin here for the motherboard, which pulls through a connect here. Nice little rubber grommets there. And then our 8-pin EPS CPU power cable will go here at the top of the board. Just going to be a bit of a struggle, so apologize if you're looking at my neck. But I got to work around this big tower air cooler, which is one of the benefits of having a modular power supply, is I could have plugged that in first before we put the board in the case. And then it would have been a lot easier. There we go. We've got all our power cables plugged in, minus the one on the back for the hub, and dealing with our cable management. So we'll be taking a look at this thing fired up here very soon. We just got to get all these cables here at the top sorted out, because it looks like a nightmare right now. So what I'm going to do is just tackle the main harness here, going from north to south. So this needs some TLC. Alright, look brah. You're just going to have to figure it out. I'll go and put it like this. Temporarily, because I probably will be coming back to that once we work on the top here. But this is just giving me a headache at this point, so I need to take care of it. There. Very nice. Then we got this cable to straighten out, and these cables here at the top to straighten out, and then this stuff at the bottom. Kind of needs a little bit of TLC as well. Not much though, it's pretty clean. I really, really like this case, guys. Really like it. Like, might become my top budget ATX mid-tower of 2023. Cable management is super smooth. I'm impressed. But it's looking 1,000 times better already. Stupid mat keeps moving on me. Looking good. But now we have all this. Oh! It's enough to drive a man mad. What are they, all RGB? Oh, that's why. Nice. We're gonna need some cable management up here. That's for damn sure. All I'm doing is daisy chaining the remaining connections, which is about all we can do here. There's only one more header down there on the actual motherboard available. Then we are going to try to clean this up the best we can without breaking anything. The rest of this garbage is just going to get... When I say garbage, I mean cables. It's going to get cleaned up and thrown over here. There is a large bulge of cables here. I'm just not sure what else to do with them, because there's so many. But that's what happens when you add more fans, and the cables don't have to run far. But you try to kind of clean it up and make it look as neat as possible. Alright, so the remaining cables here are at the bottom, which are the power supply cables. These are all extra. That's the one that we have to plug in for the SATA power. But for the most part, these are going to be bundled up down there with a zip tie and saved for a rainy day. Future upgrades, that is. It's the only update when it rains money. Upgrade. Alright, there we go. This one, we could probably put a single, one or two zip ties here. Will be fine. Honestly, just the one here is probably just going to be fine. Not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But this needs to be stored away there somewhere, something like that. There you go. Righto. Time. Got a little ding there. That was interesting. Guess that's what you get when you pay for a cheaper case. But it's not too bad. I really like the case. The functionality. The quality isn't bad. It's good, actually. Whoops. Unless you do something like that. Got some styrofoam in the mesh there when I put it in the package. Now we're ready to... I think we're ready. Yo, remember me from hella long ago? Adam? Yeah, man, what's going on? What's up, man? Over on the YouTube channel. Just gonna clean up some of this stuff here and then we'll oh shit. Hey guys, this is probably the first time, and excuse my language, it was fairly easy. I ended up just buying a PC with no graphics card and then putting in one in myself. Awesome. It was fairly easy. Awesome, man. That's good stuff. So this mistake that I just did, or I found out that I just did, is one I have not made in years. Saying, like, long time. But I'll show you what I didn't do. And y'all can laugh at me. This happens to the best of us. But this little bugger is supposed to be behind the motherboard. Right here. Between the motherboard and the case. So we gotta take this board out and put this in. Dag nabbit. That was a fail. I'm sorry, please hold. We're not firing it up yet. Abort. Give me like 5 more minutes. I haven't done that in a long time. Missed the IO shield. So we just got to pull the graphics card out, undo the screws, scoot the board over, put the panel in. All done. It just sucks because there's 9 screws. Plus the 2 for the graphics card. Then you gotta hope that I didn't zip tie things on the back too tight so that the board can move. I mean, it's mostly cosmetic, but it's, you know, kind of expected it to be there from a builder like me. We're not allowed oopsies. Not anymore. But we go through the extra work to make sure we do it right. Even when we didn't have to go through the extra work, we'll go through the extra work. Right? Please hold. Almost there. Crap. Lost the screwdriver. Computer ate the screwdriver. Now we should be able to scoot this over a good inch or so and slide this in and pop it in. It's not the ethical way to do it. But that's what I'm saying, is I should be able to scoot it over just enough to slide this in place and get it popped in there. And that's going to be the best case scenario here. Worst case is I have to pull the board. And I don't like worst case. Oh my gosh. Almost there. What is holding it up? There we go. Finally. And now we reposition the board back into its place. So if you've ever accidentally done that, that is how you rectify it without spending an additional half hour pulling everything out to put it back in. That's why it was so damn easy to put the board in. Didn't think of that until just now. Now we're just putting the screws back in. Without rage quitting. Three more left. Hey, what's up, Smokey? Over on the kick. Alright, putting the graphics card in here yet again. And then we're gonna fire this bad boy up. Once and for all. Oh. Don't worry, I'll change the view here to a side view for you before I fire it up. But I will need you to come over here and tell me if you are ready to fire it up. Need to hear that you're ready. Ready to see it, Lane. Whoops. Got those run. All right, changing views. Let me know when you're ready. I don't know if you're actually just watching as a guest or if you're in here because I haven't seen you chat at all. So I'm going to assume you're ready to go. We're going to fire this computer up for you, Lane. First time. So let's do it. And we just hit the BIOS here. So we're all fired up. And we're posted. So it's going to take us probably the rest of the evening to finish setting up the PC for you. But we should have this bad boy ready for pickup tomorrow. So just let me know what time you want to swing by and grab it. Whoa, that looks so cool. Yeah, man. It's not, Lane. Thank you so much. No problem, man. It was a fun build. Like I said, it's my first time building in this case, and I absolutely loved it. So you're gonna go. Because of you, we're gonna be building probably more with these cases. Love the case. But all of the RGB is controllable by a button, but it can be software synced. So I'm just going to sync it up to the motherboard here. Or try to find the motherboard sync. Either way, when you come pick it up, it'll be synced up to the motherboard. But yeah, it turned out really nice. It's an awesome build, man. All right, well, this is where I am probably going to cut the stream. Thank you again for everybody joining. We do have another build stream tomorrow. Jeff, thank you for that like over on Facebook. I appreciate you. About 30 minutes ago. I'm sorry I don't watch the mini feed very well. I'm terrible at it. But we will have another build stream tomorrow. It's going to be Bendy's build, and we have quite a surprise for him because we waited for so long to get this build up. So I've got a big surprise for Bendy when we do his build stream tomorrow. So Bendy, make sure you're there. And thank you everybody for joining. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to end the stream here. Have a good day, guys. Happy Friday. Can't wait to get it. Yes, sir. It will be ready for pickup tomorrow. If everything goes well, which I don't see why it wouldn't. It's running very nicely in the BIOS right now from what I can see. So thank you again. We'll see you on the next stream. And I'll see you, Lane, tomorrow.